Hello and welcome. I hope everyone can hear me and also see me pretty well. This will be my second, if not maybe third recording of this particular class, but I'm determined to figure this out. So yeah, here we are. So yeah, welcome. My name is Amber. For anyone who hasn't practiced with me before or is unfamiliar with me, my face, and everything. Yeah, so if you have any props that you'd like to use, for instance, if you'd like to use a block, or if you have a blanket, doesn't have to necessarily be one that's a yoga blanket. Any blanket will work. They're all yoga blankets if you ask me. And maybe you have a bolster or maybe even like a pillow. So again, just kind of anything that you might need to make you comfortable, a little bit more comfortable. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and find a comfortable position, whether it's on your back or maybe even seated. A couple options for your back will be legs long, extended out towards the end of your mat, or maybe in the end of a towel, depending on what you're laying on. And then also the option to have your knees bent, feet can be pretty wide, feet can be close together. Kind of just see which of these options feel good for you. And just know that at any point in time or for any reason, you can always stay more seated or even come lying onto your belly. Then once you find a place that is a little more comfortable, whether it's on your back or seated in a position of your choosing, just decide if you'd like to close your eyes or maybe you'd like to keep them open. We're going to take the first few minutes of class just kind of acknowledging the breath and just noticing kind of what's going on throughout the body. Notice what's going on mentally, emotionally. So as you decide to open or close the eyes, start to notice the areas of the body that are in contact with the mat, the floor, kind of the surface beneath you. Any last little adjustments, maybe the shoulder blades closer together, maybe a squeezing of the hands or tightening of the toes, and then allowing this nice kind of release, relaxation throughout this idea of the body, head to toe. And I just want you to start to notice your natural breath. So these ideas of the inhales and exhales as they occur, not really trying to change anything, just noticing where you feel the breath as you inhale. And then noticing once again where you feel the breath as you exhale. Noticing whether the breath feels a little heavy or light. Noticing any qualities or colors that you may associate with your breath, any images. Maybe inquiring if you feel the breath in your belly, maybe even in your chest, and just noticing, not necessarily changing anything, just allowing your breath to enter and exit in a nice natural manner. Own flow, as fast or as slow as you decide, as your body allows. And then as you take your next few inhales, I really want you to focus the breath into the area of the low belly, down in towards the hips. Maybe even placing the hands onto this area of the low belly, and as you inhale, draw the air into your nose and allow the belly to expand up, out. And then as you exhale, begin to release as much of the air out of this area as you can. The next few inhales, drawing as much air into this area of the low belly, down into the hips. And then as you exhale, releasing as much of the air from this area of the low belly as you can. A few more times, again, in your own pace, going as fast or as slow. Your own personal rhythm here. Allowing yourself to breathe into the low belly. With your next inhale, move the breath more so into the mid or high belly and also the area of the ribs. Each inhale, as you draw the air into your nose, allow the low belly to rise first, high belly and ribs to then follow. As you exhale, allow the high belly and ribs to relax, and then allow the low belly to fall from there. Continue breathing in and out through your nose, or maybe even exhaling through your mouth if that feels more comfortable. In a rhythm that feels good to you. And then completing this breath work here, I want you to think about inhaling into the low belly, following the midsection of the body, so the high belly into the ribs, and then finishing the breath into the chest and into the shoulders. As you exhale, allow the chest and shoulders to relax down first, followed by the midsection of the body, the ribs and high belly. And then completing the exhale by allowing the low belly to relax and release further down. And just allowing this three-part breath, this inhale, the rise of the low belly, high belly ribs, chest into the shoulders. Exhaling shoulders, chest, and ribs, followed by the belly. Continue here a few more times, a few more rounds, allowing for those inhales and those exhales. In and out through the nose. Maybe even exhaling through the mouth if that feels more comfortable to you at this time. Just honoring and noticing how we feel, any thoughts that may arise. Making any adjustments that may be needed. Just allowing yourself to breathe. Finishing out a few more rounds of breath, or maybe you've kind of completed your breath work here in this beginning part of class. Making your way to your back if you haven't already, and then allowing your knees to bend and your feet to remain flat. As you then extend the arms above the head and behind you, allowing this nice full stretch, wiggling the fingers, maybe even rotating through the wrist a little. I want you to release the arms down by the side and then extend the legs out nice and long, pointing through the toes, maybe even rotating through the ankles. And then I want you to flex through the heels. Reach the arms above the head. Once again, point the toes, full stretch here. And then release the arms down, bend the knees, bring the feet flat once again, and then begin to shift the knees from right to left to right. Allow the bottoms of the feet to roll off the mat if that feels good. Maybe wiggle the toes and just begin to notice how this feels, not only maybe in the hips and the back, but also the ankles. Arms can be placed out to the side, or hands can rest onto the belly. You can take your gaze from right to left if that feels good, going in the same direction or even against the direction of the legs. Another option here on the back with the knees bent, maybe hug the knees in towards the chest, hands to the backs of the thighs or fronts of the shins, and then allowing as much pressure as you hug the knees in, massaging throughout the low back. So it just feels nice here. You might be able to notice any tension you might be carrying, any soreness. Kind of this idea of pain and where it's kind of showing up in our body. And whenever you're ready, release your feet down onto the mat. Two ways to come up into a nice seated position. You can cross up the ankles. Maybe begin to rock back and forth, slight chin tuck here and towards the chest until you find yourself seated. Or of course, if you'd like to, you can roll to one side, left or right. Press your hand down into the floor and then allow yourself to kind of gently rise up. And then I just want you to make your way onto all fours, hands and knees here, that nice position. Shoulders stacked, hips stacked. And I want you to walk your hands forward a little bit and walk them out a little bit wide. And then I want you to draw your chin in towards your chest. Allow your head to hang heavy. Nod your head yes. Shake your head no. Just notice, how does the upper back feel, the upper part of the spine into the neck. And then as you inhale, I want you to slightly engage your core and kind of shift forward, slight bend into the elbows, gaze goes towards the top of the mat. Using some core control here, I want you to keep that engagement, press into the palms, seek the glutes, the butt, back towards the heels. This nice control here, keep a soft bend in the elbows, engage the core just enough to feel strength as you shift forward. Shoulders extend past the wrist, possibly at this point. With control, begin shifting the entire body back towards the heels, likely butt reaching towards the heels. One more time, take it as you need. Inhale, come forward. Again, you're noticing the strength of the core here enough that you can feel it, but not enough to create tension or tightness throughout the body. I want you to go ahead and then exhale, sink yourself back. And then from here, maybe beginning to start some hip circles or even hip sways, starting from either side to side. Or like I said, hip circles coming from one side, extending the body forward, dropping the hips, and then over to the other side. Yeah, good. And then go ahead. You can always allow the swaying or movement to occur in the opposite direction. So take your time, there's absolutely no rush. Begin to notice again what parts of the body start to talk to you, what parts do you start to notice, and then what do you notice about those body parts? Do you notice your wrist here? Do they feel a little sore? Does it feel good to kind of get some movement, some strength there? Does it feel nice in the hips and the back as you sink side to side or even towards the back of your mat? And then once you're ready, coming on back onto all fours. A little more stability here in the position, allowing the shoulders to be stacked and then the hips to be stacked within reason. And then starting a nice cat and cow flow. So coming into your cow pose first, you're going to allow your belly to draw down just a little bit, creating this U shape with the body as you lift your hips, lift your bum a little, and then lift your shoulders. And then as you exhale, round, creating the C shape, cat-like rounding here into your cat pose. And so you can allow each inhale to bring you into one posture, whether that be your cat or your cow. And then as you exhale, you just begin to transition into the next pose. And you may play around a little bit with how wide your hands or your knees are. And just allow for this nice foundation by pressing into the hands, maybe the tops of the feet, or even allowing the toes to be tucked. Another option, if you decide to take it, you can take your knees out a little bit wide. Big toes reach towards one another. Don't necessarily have to be touching. And then continue your cat and cow shape here by allowing that belly to draw down as the hips and shoulders lift. And then as you round, creating that C-like shape, imagining a cat rounding through its back. Maybe take another round or two before eventually making your way back into a more all fours traditional type pose. And then tucking your toes, walking your hands back, hands onto the tops of the thighs. I want you to again engage the core a little here, lean back, feel the stretch in your toes. Use a nice strength from your core as you begin to pull yourself forward, walk your hands forward. Fingers spread wide, press into the palms, drop your hips down just a little. Hips lift up and back, walk the hands back, keep the toes tucked. Allow the weight to sink back onto the heels, into the lower body, a slight engagement of the core. As you then keep the chest lifted, begin to hinge back. Catch yourself for a moment as you then begin to come forward. This time, allow the palms to come down with the fingers pointed towards you. Press into the base of the hands. And then I want you to go ahead And lean back just a bit, just enough to start to feel a little sensation throughout the wrist, throughout the palms. You might even go side to side, right to left, front to back. Shift forward, turn the fingers so they're pointing forward. Last time, as you walk the hands back, allow the weight to sink back into the heels. Engage the core. This time, maybe take the arms out. Keep the chest lifted. Feel the engagement of the core. And then go ahead, come back. All fours. Option if you choose here. Tap the tops of the feet onto the mat. Wiggle the toes. Rotate through the ankles. Depending on the time of day or when you're doing this or what the other family members of your house are doing, you might want to create a little more or a little less noise. And then whenever you're ready, I want you to go ahead, shoulders stacked, nice slight bend in your elbows. I want you to be able to notice some strength coming from the upper parts of your arms. Tuck your toes. And then I want you to kind of elevate your tabletop by lifting your knees just slightly off the floor. And slightly might be a little high. You might barely notice the space between the knees and the mat. And just notice, inhale, and exhale, lower down. And inhale, lift the knees. And exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift the knees. Exhale, lower down. Soft bend in the elbows. Inhale, lift the knees, hold. Allow yourself to exhale. Feel yourself in this posture. Breathe a little more. And then, of course, when you're ready, next exhale, downward facing dog. Widen the feet a little bit here. Maybe even the hands widen a little bit. So add some movement. Down dog is also a great place to find stillness or even return onto all fours if that's a good place for you. Forearms can always come down, forehead down. So just know any of these postures are perfect while in your downward facing dog, as there's so many shapes that we can make here with our body. And then take your feet a little bit wider than you normally would, maybe even to the width of your mat. And then I want you to think about the strength as you walk your hands back into a wide stance forward fold. You might even walk your feet in a little bit more, walk them out. Forearms can rest onto the thighs. Of course, toes can point out a little bit if that feels good. And you can add movement or find some stillness here. Another option is to hang the upper body nice and heavy, ragdolling, hands to opposite elbows, or even allowing the arms to sway down towards the mat. And just allow yourself to breathe. From here, you're going to go ahead and allow yourself to then point the toes out. Keep that nice wide stance. And then I want you to think about engaging the backs of the legs and also the glutes, so the butt here. And then I want you to lower yourself down into a nice deep squat. So a couple options here for your squat. If you have like a couch or a bed or even a chair available, and your deep squat is more accessible from this space, perfect. Just taking your legs out wide, feeling the engagement, sinking down, and just noticing pressing into the feet. If you have a bolster or even a block available, you're more than welcome to place that underneath the bum here, the butt, and then go ahead resting here. Just know that it's always great if you'd like to, of course, bum raised, floating, pressing down into the feet regardless of what option that you choose. And then just knowing if this feels good, hands can stay down, hands can stay at the heart center. And then using the strength of the back of the legs and the butt, I want you to go ahead and press up into that wide stance forward fold. And then decide if you'd like to kind of hold in your forward fold, or if you'd like to flow between the two, that nice deep squat position, malasana, sometimes it's called. Or of course, coming into that nice wide stance forward fold. And just really important that regardless of whether you're moving or whether you're finding stillness, that you're just engaging your glutes and allowing the hamstrings to feel nice and strong here. Allow the toes to feel relaxed but grounded, and then just allow yourself to move and breathe. I know for myself personally, starting yoga, trying to incorporate the breath seemed to be quite challenging. So just remembering that it's okay. And sometimes as a teacher, we're there to remind you, and there's no judgment. Just take it how you need. All right, so go ahead and sink down into that nice deep squat. Take your time. There's no rush in getting there. I'm going to turn on my mat so I'm mirroring more so what you guys would be doing. And then thinking about whether the hands are down or hands at the heart or even placed onto a chair or an object off to the side, I want you to press into your feet, and then I want you to rise all the way up, reach the arms above the head, and then as you exhale, bring your hands down, step your feet in into a more traditional mountain pose. And just a nice upright standing posture here. Allow yourself to be acquainted with either the hands at the heart or hands down by the side in this nice mountain pose position. So soft bend in your knees. You might feel a little bit of strength coming from your thighs. And then I want you to take a nice big inhale, and then exhale, come into your chair pose. So hands are either going to come to the heart, you're going to bend your knees, or of course your arms can extend right out, pinkies turn in, and just know your feet can be about hip width. Big toes can be together, or if you'd like to even go a little wider, toes can point out. That feels good too. So again, just finding a chair that works for you, shifting the knees back, and then sinking down into the lower body just a little bit, noticing the weight in the heels. And can you notice the weight in the rest of the foot? Enough to notice it, but maybe it's not quite equal throughout the heel and the toes, the balls of the feet. Nice and strong here. Inhale, stand tall. Keep the palms together. Draw the thumbs back. Press the hips forward. Slight engagement of the glutes. Slight back bend. And exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Prepare to step your feet out. Point the toes out. Think about full body control, full body movement. Inhale, reaching up. That deep squat malasana when you're ready. Plant the hands down, or even off to the side. Engage the glutes and the hamstrings. Push up, nice forward fold, straighten through the toes. Point the toes out, lower down, walk forward, coming into your plank pose. You may even notice that you're walking your feet back just a little bit. Allow your knees to be up or down. Variation of plank will really depend on how you're feeling today, what your body's asking for. And just finding some strength here. So slight bend in the elbows. Finding strength through the back side of the body. So think about those shoulder blades, the area between the shoulder blades. And then when you're ready on your next exhale, I want you to bend into your elbows and slowly begin to lower yourself all the way down on towards the mat. And then I want you to tuck your chin in towards your chest, cactus out your arms. So a nice way of getting there is extending the arms out to a T, bending the elbows, palms are going to face down. I want you to lift your palms and your forearms, keeping your elbows down, inhale. And then exhale, I want you to lower the hands and the forearms down. Inhale, lift the hands, lift the forearms. Exhale, lower the hands, lower the forearms. Inhale, lift the hands, lift the forearms, and then draw the elbows up. Now the arms are completely floating off the mat. Lift the chest, gaze becomes forward, maybe even still down. Notice here the strength in the back side of the body. Lift a little more and lower down. Hands underneath the shoulders, tucking of the toes. Kneeling plank or full plank. And downward facing dog. Perfect time for all fours. Forearms down, hips back. Variation of child's pose. Just knowing any shape that feels good for you in this moment. When you're ready, transitioning from your down dog into your floating table. So whether you bring your knees down, shift the hands back, and then come into floating table, or if you decide to come from your down dog into your floating table, feel free to do so. And then this time, allow the knees to lower and lift, noticing the strength throughout the core, strength throughout the legs, the arms. And then maybe even if you decide, maybe you keep the knees up or down and then bend into the elbows, allowing the elbows to go out.
Combine the movements if that feels good. Hold back in your floating table, breathe, and downward facing dog. Walk those feet out wide, and then begin to walk the hands back into that wide stance forward fold. Shift the toes, pointing out, engage the back side of the body, so glutes, hamstrings, and sink down into your nice deep squat. Nice and strong, hands can be at the heart or hands can be down onto the floor. Pressing into the feet, think about full body strength, lifting all the way up, arms above the head, and hands coming towards the heart. Traditional mountain pose, big toes can be together or feet can be hip width or even wider. Allow yourself to breathe. Inhale, reach the arms up. Chair pose once again, hands can come to the heart or arms can extend long. So like I said, there's a couple different options when it comes to chair. Toes together, knees together, maybe about hip width or even taking it a little bit wider. And so I want you to sink down. And then I want you to think about drawing the knees out just a tad bit. And then as you exhale, bring them back to where they were. And then as you inhale, draw the knees out just a little bit. And then as you exhale, bring them back to where they were. And then one more time, draw the knees out and hold. And bring them in. Palms together, inhale, stand tall, palms press into one another, thumbs reach back, hips press forward, back bend, and exhale, hands to the heart. Step the feet out, toes point out, nice wide stance here, preparing for our deep squat. Think about slow, controlled movement. Inhale, reach, arms can reach apart, and then as you exhale, engage and lower all the way down. Walk your hands forward, coming into your plank, knowing that your knees can be up or down. Allow yourself to breathe. Slight bend in your elbows. I want you to notice the strength in your arms. Prevent adding too much stress into the tops of the shoulders, your upper traps here. When you're ready, no rush, knees up or down. Next, exhale, bend into the elbows and lower all the way onto the mat. Untuck the toes, cactus out the arms. So again, that T, bend the elbows, palms down, chin in towards the chest. Inhale, lift the palms, lift the forearms, lift the elbows, chest lifts off the mat. This time lift the knees and the feet. Breathe, lift, and breathe. Lower down, hands under shoulders, tuck the toes, plank of your choice, and into your downward facing dog. Pedal the feet, rock the hips, inhale, and exhale. Inhale once again, exhale, begin to prepare for that floating table. Take your time. Option once you're into your floating table to allow for some stillness, or an option to lower and lift the knees, maybe to bend the elbows, maybe to combine the movements together. And just kind of deciding what feels good for you. Eventually, downward facing dog with the feet wide, and then eventually starting to walk the hands back into a nice wide stance forward fold. Turn the feet out. Engage the glutes, engage the hamstrings, sink all the way down, deep squat. Hands can stay at the heart center, or they can be placed on towards the floor. Inhale, lift tall, arms reach above the head. And stepping in for mountain pose, exhale, hands to the heart. Nice inhale, exhale, upright position, just reacquainting the body here. And inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale into your chair pose. Taking your time here, setting up in your chair, that feels good. The ability to find some strength. Begin to notice what parts of the body talk to you. And can you soften a little bit? Nice and strong here. We're gonna add on a nice movement. It's gonna be airplane arms with a halfway lift, with that idea of engagement of the glutes and the backs of the thighs. Big inhale here. And exhale, straighten the legs. Extend the arms back, palms facing down. Hug the pinkies in towards the upper body. Slight bend in the knees. Inhale, come back to chair. Exhale, halfway lift, airplane arms. Inhale, chair. Just flowing this, own pace, own flow. Airplane arms, halfway lift. Come back into your chair pose. Stand tall, palms together, slight back bend. Take it a little deeper if that feels good for you. Press the hips slightly forward and hands towards the heart. Step the feet out, toes pointing out. Think about full body strength, this nice controlled body movement. Inhale, reach. And exhale, sink all the way down. Last time here, as you walk yourself forward into your plank. Again, knees up or down. I like to demonstrate a little bit of both. Also, it kind of depends on how I'm feeling that day, what other workouts I have or haven't done. With some nice control on your next exhale, bend into your elbows, lower all the way down. Tuck the chin in toward your chest. Again, those arms are out to a T, and then you bend the elbows, palms down, arms relax onto the floor. Lift the hands, lift the forearms. Lift the elbows. The chest lifts. Keep the chin tucked in. Lift the knees, lift the feet, thighs. Breathe, lift a little bit more. And allow yourself to just notice. Back side of the body. Lift a little bit more. And lower down. Tuck the toes. Coming into your plank. And into your downward facing dog. A couple different options from here. You've got a more regular practice or kind of some routine or ritual within your relationship with your mat and your asana, your poses. Feel free to kind of go through a vinyasa, chaturanga, upward dog, some type of heart opener. If you'd like to relax into a child's pose or on all fours, flowing through some cat and cows, feel free. If you'd like to grab some water, also a great time. Yell at your children, tell your husband to do whatever they're supposed to do. No, I'm kidding. Just insert whatever applies to you in these next few breaths, these next few moments. No rushing, of course. We'll meet back in the downward dog. It's our last downward dog here. We will eventually come down onto the floor, hands and knees here. Shoulders relatively stacked, hips stacked, and then extend your right leg back, tuck the toes, and then go ahead and draw the heel back. Nice and strong here. And then go ahead and press into the toes, lean forward. And then bring it back to that kind of more neutral position. I want you to keep the heel pressing towards the back, but I want you to lift the foot off the mat here. And lower the foot down, tap the toes, and lift it up. And one more time, tapping it down and lifting it up. So you can keep the leg nice and long, or if you'd like to bend the knee, you're more than welcome. And I just want you to bring the leg out towards the side. So again, knee can be bent, leg can be long. And from there, I want you to tap the toe down and lift it up. And tap the toe down and lift it up. Tap the toe down, keep the toe down, and then begin to move front to back here. Shift the hips, glutes back to the heel. Might even scoot the hands forward and begin to come forward. So keep a slight engagement through your core here. And then just begin to allow your body to move in any ways that might feel good, anything that comes to mind. And then eventually, as you start to draw your body forward, I want you to take your right foot with you so it comes up towards the right hand. So you might kind of shimmy your foot there. Scoot the left knee back out underneath you just a little bit, and then I want you to either stay here or maybe even go between these two postures, and then you might straighten the leg. And again, your straight might not be quite straight in a way, kind of like mine, and that's okay. Another option is to kind of walk the right foot out to the right side, right corner of the mat. The upper body is then going to be on the inside of that leg. You might feel a little bit more comfortable, might be a little more accessible depending on what your body's looking for. And then there's this idea you can kind of go back and forth, and this idea of what do you notice? Invite any and all thoughts. Why am I doing this? Is it too late to bail out? No, I'm just joking. But yeah, any thoughts. Your mat is going to welcome you regardless. You're having a good day, a bad day, you're here just to lay down for 45 minutes, hey, your mat's going to be there. And when you're ready, I want you to go ahead and bring yourself back onto all fours. If you'd like to flow through a cat-cow or maybe take your hips from side to side, you're more than welcome to do so. From there, you're going to go ahead, come back to that all fours position, and you're going to take your left leg back this time, tuck the toes. You're going to apply some pressure there, so you're pressing the heel back, pressing into the hands, just kind of notice. It might be subtle, not very noticeable, or you might kind of feel like a nice sensation here. And then shift yourself forward as you press into the toes, engage the quadriceps a little bit there. And then find that kind of neutral middle position. And then keeping the heel pressed back, I want you to lift the toes, and then tap them down. And lift the toes, tap them down, and lift the toes, and tap them down. I want you to go ahead and lift the leg one more time here, and like before, you can have the leg extended long, or if you'd like to bring a bend in your knee, more than welcome to do so. And then I want you to extend the leg out towards the left, tap the toes down, and lift. Tap the toes down, and lift. Tap the toes down and hold. Move the body front to back, back to front. Just noticing how it feels to add some movement into this posture, making any little adjustments that you need. And then just like before, as you work your way front to back, eventually, as you make your way forward, the left leg's gonna come with you towards the left hand, even if it's got to shimmy its way there for a moment. And then from there, that same idea or same options apply over here. So you can straighten through the leg. Again, your idea of straight might look similar to mine, or you might be a little more looking like more like a straight line, and that's okay too. And you can move your left leg out to the left side. So again, that's the idea that this upper body is now on the inside of that left leg, and you might find it a little bit more easy, more accessible. You might also start to notice, feel certain things throughout your body here. And there's no real right or wrong, just all about noticing. Can you breathe and notice as you move? And if you're thinking, no, I cannot, that's okay, that's what we're here for, to practice. And then go ahead and start to shift yourself back onto all fours. And just take your time. From here, we are going to make our way onto our backs. So just allow yourself that time, that space to grab any water, any additional props that you might need before you go ahead. Grab a hold of one leg or both and roll yourself back, knees to chest, rocking side to side, gauging how much pressure you would like here on your low back. You can even allow the weight, the knees to kind of shift towards the back of the mat, pressing down and just noticing a little pressure, a little release there. If it feels better to bring your feet flat and begin to shift the knees from side to side, of course, feel free in doing so. Allow yourself to breathe. Bringing your knees back to center, take your feet out wide, maybe even off the mat, or kind of have to play around with this a little bit, and then knock your knees in towards the center.
Inner thighs may be resting on one another, or even the insides of the knees, and then arms can be out to the side or even placed somewhere along the upper body, belly, or chest. And just allow yourself to kind of notice how this feels. What do you notice? And then as you breathe, can you take that breath into that 3-part series where you inhale into your low belly first, midsection, high belly, and then into your chest and shoulders. After a few moments here, if you'd like to transition where your bottoms of your feet together and your knees are out towards the sides, you can place your hands underneath the thighs here as a little way of kind of easing the inner thigh sensation if it's strong. Or of course, if you'd like to allow gravity to kind of do its thing and allow the knees to relax and inner thighs to kind of shine open and welcoming the sensation of that nice stretch there. Feel free. Arms can be relaxed out, or of course, like I said, placed onto the belly. And then I just want you to take a moment, and without lifting your head, I want you to draw your chin in towards your chest. So the head staying down on towards the mat, I want you to draw the chin in towards the chest. And then as you take your next breath, as you exhale, your chin will kind of bounce back in a sense. So as you draw your chin in towards the chest, keeping your head down, you'll feel almost like you're doing it a little too much. And then on that next exhale, start to find a little relaxation throughout that movement there. Of course, if you'd like to extend the legs out long or bend your knees, or if lying down is not quite available to you today, I guess depending on the time of which you watch this, you can also find yourself seated for more of a seated meditation. Option to have the eyes open or to have the eyes closed. And following that natural breath. The rise and the fall throughout the body as you breathe. Allowing as much air to kind of fill the body, the belly, the ribs, the chest as you can. And then as you exhale, releasing as much of this air from the body that you can. Allowing your exhales to be slightly longer than your inhales. Even if it's just for a couple seconds or even doubling in length. Relaxing fingers, relaxing toes, softening the muscles of the glutes to allow the back to feel a little more relaxed here, a little more stable. Breathe into the belly to allow your shoulders to relax. Soften the muscles of the face, around the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the chin. Allow your body to feel connected with the surface beneath you and a sense of feeling grounded. Recognizing the support of the surface and also the softness within you. Following each breath in and each breath out. Following your own personal rhythm of breath. Acknowledging any colors or images, words you may associate with your breath. Acknowledging where you may feel your breath, chest or belly. acknowledging any thoughts that may arise. With each exhale, allowing them to release. Maybe to be thought again. And then, of course, to be released. Continue to breathe. Of course, you can slowly start to add small movements, whether through the fingers or toes, or even a gentle opening of the eyes if you haven't already. And just kind of acknowledging all that has occurred in these last 45 minutes or so. Maybe choosing to lie here for an additional hour, convincing your family you took a 2-hour yoga class. But of course, journeying to a seated position at any point in time, knowing that the time and space is yours. You may find yourself seated, looking for a little movement through the shoulders or through the neck. Or maybe you come seated with your hands to your heart, thumbs pressing into the chest. Again, just taking your time, closing out class in a manner that feels good for you. Pressing the thumbs into the chest a little more and bowing the head. And a true thank you to each and every one of you for your support and your time and just allowing me to guide you in such a weird time. So yeah, if there's any other ways that I can help or assist you, just let me know. And I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Namaste.